Hello there, everyone, and thank you once again, for your support of the whole Fujitsu to account for the post office scandal witness statement. I thought it'd be really interesting here to look at a piece of evidence which has been submitted to the post office Horizon IT inquiry in 2022. Now, this is a report of a Horizon bug in 1999, so we're literally talking, it's June 1999, 28th of June 1999. We're talking literally as the system's going live. Literally as the system is going live in post offices. It starts off by saying, please confirm whether the receipts and payment totals match when the final cash account was produced. This can be determined from the messages in the message store. Look for attributes Cash Act line 700 and Cash Act line 1700. Okay, so they're just technical references to what they're looking at. And then there's been a further response here. And now this in the red box, the first red box at the top, is quite telling. The doubling or multiplying of the brought forward value on the cash account has been traced to an error in the changes which were delivered to correct the previous problem related to previewing of the final cash amount. So even though this is right at go live, even before the 28th of June 1999, there had clearly been an issue reported relating to the final cash account balance not being correct. And it does specifically refer to here in this latest bug of the doubling or multiplying. This workaround needs to be brought to the attention of the MBSC and HSH help desk as a matter of urgency, so the Horizon help desk, in order to avoid cash account imbalances during the next two cash account periods. So at this point, Fujitsu are certainly aware from this log that we are reading of the doubling issue that is happening. Part of the changes allowed the user to restart the production of the CA snapshot, trial or final, if the process was interrupted by returning to the menu. Previously, if the process was interrupted, then the user was required to rerun the Office balance trial, final, CA snapshot, CA trial, and then the CA final rollover. Due to an error, if the user does not run the CA snapshot process followed immediately by the CA trial and final reports, that's cash account, the CAs, then the system writes a further brought forward transaction record each time the process is interrupted and restarted. So this could be where the doubling's coming from that we've seen in the drama Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, but also which was reported by the subpostmaster that we spoke to on this channel as well, and as well many other postmasters. This causes the cash account brought forward value to be multiplied up as many times as the process is re-entered. Well, this matches with the accounts of subpostmasters who were saying literally while they were on the phone to the Horizon helpline, the balance doubled when they followed the actions that they followed. So clearly, you can't just lay the blame for. Well, you certainly can't lay the blame for the mistake for the bugs in Horizon at the subpostmasters. But you can't even actually say, well, they weren't using the system properly, because clearly, even when they sought help, the Horizon helpline, which was there to help with the Horizon software, they weren't aware this was happening clearly, which is presumably why they kept on the assurances, it'll all sort itself out in the end, which it didn't do. The problem does not occur in the LT2 software, due for release on the 10th of July 1999, due to the restructuring of the cash account production process in line with the recent CRs. CRs are change requests, so forms that are filled out by customers, in this case the post office, for changes that they would like to see to the system. Tests have been conducted to demonstrate that LT2 does not exhibit the same behaviour. So it sounds like they think they've fixed it at this point. Or they have fixed it, and it should have been released on the 10th of July 1999, so a matter of a couple of weeks after this report. So did that ever happen? And if it did ever happen, why? If it didn't ever happen, why not? And if it did ever happen, why didn't it solve the issue? Because it's saying it should do here. In the meantime, for the remaining two cash account periods in LT1, these are going to be versions of Horizon. The workaround is to rerun the Office balance trial and final reports, rerun the CA snapshot process, and follow this immediately with CA trial and CA final prints. Now, whether this worked, presumably this is something they've tested and found that did work. If this was something worked, why wasn't this communicated to subpostmasters? Why, many, many years later, were subpostmasters still being advised by Horizon Help to do things which would double the shortfalls they were experienced rather than resolve them? And then below it says, it's forwarded to Nicole with information provided by the gentleman above. And then Nicole Meredith has requested that this call be downgraded to a B priority. Now, I'm guessing this priority started at A, but why something which is so devastating would you downgrade a system that is literally causing a bug in the system that's causing thousands of pounds worth of shortfalls? It beggars belief. To give a bit of context to this, because I realise it's a bit technical, the normal process that will be followed in a company of any appreciable size that's involved in software development, and certainly in all the software development teams that I have been managing, the process normally would be the customer raises bugs. In this case, I'm guessing it's the post office on behalf of the subpostmasters, which raised bugs and change requests, which were alluded to when it said CR in the previous response from Steve Warwick here. Once these bug reports come in, they would usually be triaged. Now, I'm going to ignore what would normally happen in smaller companies, because in smaller companies, the person who's triaging, the person who's fixing, whilst it is best practice that these are different people, in smaller companies, it's normally unavoidable that there are people involved in multiple stages of the process. However, we are talking about a big company here. We are talking about Fujitsu. So no doubt these will have been separate people. As we can see, there are at least 4 different people involved in this very short thread here, which is presumably a printout from the ticketing system, which was referred to in the previous witness statement we went through, an excerpt from that system. Once it had been triaged, one of the first things that you do is find out whether the bug is repeatable, because the worst kind of bugs, as any software developer will tell you, are so-called intermittent bugs. It can either be that the caller or the reporter isn't that clear on how to repeat it, misses out some steps, or that there is some situational thing at a specific, in this case, post office, where certain data entries are causing a different response when compared to a test system. However, it will be triaged to see if it can be repeated and assigned an urgency or a priority based on not only whether it can be repeated, but also the likely effects and consequences if this bug occurs. Which in this case, if we're just talking about the effects, I would certainly rate these effects as catastrophic. If any business, particularly one that's, quite a small, post offices are quite small, independent franchises, aren't they, comparatively? I know some of them can get quite large, but in terms of how government classes small and big business, it would class it as a small business. A doubling of a shortfall, literally potentially losing thousands of pounds, particularly if in the future you're going to use evidence such as this to prosecute people and send them to jail and take their money and houses off them, the risk is catastrophic. So on that basis, I don't know at the time how Fujitsu prioritized the calls, but the fact that this is being downgraded, presumably after it was initially triaged as a higher priority, I'm struggling to understand that, because this bug report here is describing exactly the doubling that has been reported not only on the television, not only in the accounts of subpostmasters, not only in Mr. Bates versus the post office, but also in the video, which was fantastic, and I advise you watch it on our channel with one of the subpostmasters. It's the exact problem they were encountering. How this hasn't been given priority, and it shows this was known about from go live. This wasn't an issue which crept up later, and it will be really interesting to see. The outstanding question based on this is the LT2 software, so the new version of Horizon, which was due to be released on 10th of July 1999. Firstly, did it ever get released? And secondly, if it did get released, why didn't it fix the problem? So I appreciate some of the evidence being submitted to the Horizon inquiry is naturally a bit technical because it's related to computer systems. And that's why I'm doing these videos, to try and explain it in clearer terms, non-technical terms, so that everybody can understand what we're reading here. But it's shocking to know that this exact issue that so many subpostmasters, were encountering up until 2017. Did they stop prosecutions? Literally, you're talking 2 decades of being aware that something like this could happen, which I find absolutely shocking. And there's another reason why we need to sign and share the petition to hold Fujitsu to account for the post office scandal. Yes, the post office are responsible. Yes, the government are responsible, but also Fujitsu, as the developers of Horizon, are responsible. So thank you for your continued support, and thank you for sharing and signing. We're nearly at 200,000. Keep going. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.